Hey, soldiers, we're going to move in a slightly different direction today. Matt Taibbi has been threatened by a member of Congress. He's been threatened with prison, essentially, because he has done a bang-up job of reporting on how deeply embedded the U.S. government was inside Twitter. He's the one that has really exploded and exposed these Twitter files with the help of Elon Musk, who put the information out there for him to delve into. The United States government controls the media, lock, stock, and barrel. Traditional media. In fact, traditional media, mainstream media, is the 8-track tape of information. All right. And it's an 8-track tape. It's an 8-track tape where you say, oh, the Doobie Brothers, perfect. And then when you put it in, you actually get Yanni. All right. So they're outdated and they lie like rugs. We're going to get into it because if Congress can do this to someone who is on Matt Taibbi's level of exposure, what can they do to you? What can they do to your money? What can they do to your property? What can they do to your freedom of speech, your freedom? All right, subscribe. All you got to do to enlist and become a soldier of finance is hit that subscribe button and bam, you're in. Let me know you did it in the comments. I will salute you. Salute to all of the soldiers of finance all around the world. I need everybody to hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and just hit that thumbs up button. Let the YouTube algorithm know that although the FBI is watching and they may not like what we have to say, the algorithm is king here. And if you hit thumbs up, it will let other people know what we're talking about and the dialogues that we are having. I want you to weigh in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this subject. Really quick house cleaning item. I'm going to start talking a little bit more about AI, okay? The reason for that is it has the potential to put us all out of work. AI is something that even Sundar Pichai over at Google says he doesn't quite understand how it's doing what it's doing. Pichai is, of course, the CEO of Google. So we're looking at a phenomenon that is kind of like quantum physics. If you listen to any quantum physicist out there, they'll tell you straight up, any real one, no one understands this. But we got something that's calculating, has a calculating capability, hundreds of thousands of times that of a human being. That's something that could have ramifications that are deep and really have the potential to transform society as we know it. So we're going to get into more of that. I hope you guys will enjoy that and interact with me on that. Let's get to Taibbi. House Democrat threatens Twitter files journalist with prosecution and imprisonment. All right, so we got a Wall Street Journal journalist imprisoned over in Russia. The Russians are saying he's a spy, and we're, talking about press freedom. But over here, what we're doing is we're threatening journalists with the same damn thing, okay? The backlash against journalists reporting on the Department of Homeland Security's reach into social media platform took an ominous turn in recent days. Also, look, as we go through this, understand, Twitter was the one that was exposed, okay? But every other social media platform, this one, okay, you got to believe that Facebook is probably just riddled with it. The FBI probably has an office, right outside of Mark Zuckerberg's office. In fact, I bet you their office is bigger than his. In a letter exclusively obtained by the Zero Hedge author Li Fang, Representative Stacey Plaskett, she is a Democrat representing the Virgin Islands. She's a non-voting member of Congress, falsely claimed that the Twitter Files journalist, Matt Taibbi, lied under oath in his congressional testimony, floating the possibility of criminal charges. Plaskett, the same lawmaker who described Taibbi as a so-called journalist during his March 9th testimony, also demanded sourcing information and asked that he detail his interactions with Elon Musk. This should be front page news everywhere, okay? Because this is an attack on the First Amendment and freedom of the press. So if they can attack the press, they've got boatloads of ink. The old adage is never go to war with the press because they got an endless amount of ink. What can they do to us? The Plaskett letter claimed that Taibbi intentionally provided false information during his testimony and mentioned the potential consequences of such actions. Quote, under the federal perjury statute, 18 U.S. Code, section 1621, providing false information is punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment, unquote, Plaskett wrote. The letter was swiftly condemned by press freedom organizations when reached for comment. Every so-called news organization should have taken time out of the broadcast day. Every print organization should have took a half-page ad and condemned this. Okay, it's beyond the pale. It's disturbing that a member of Congress would attempt to threaten a journalist with imprisonment for summarizing his reporting during a congressional hearing, said Seth Stern, the director of advocacy with Freedom of the Press Foundation, in a statement. Quote, it seems apparent that she had no good faith basis to threaten a perjury prosecution and that the threat is an intimidation tactic. Absolutely. And we've got the cojones to cry about the Wall Street journalist, Wall Street Journal journalist that has been detained. We are so duplicitous and hypocritical in this country. These representatives, they have no shame. If you ask Plaskett about what's going on with the journalist in Russia, oh, she will sound the exact opposite of what she sounds like now, persecuting not only a journalist, but an American citizen. So whatever one may think of Taibbi or his reporting on the Twitter files, baselessly threatening to imprison journalists is reprehensible, no matter if the threats are from Democrat members of Congress or Donald Trump. And that's true. The letter is shocking. The mistake in Taibbi's tweet does not show that he knowingly lied to Congress, said Aaron Terr, Director of Public Advocacy for the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression. Quote, it's hard to think of anything more chilling to a free press than threatening a journalist with prison time based on a single corrected mistake in their reporting. Okay, so this is, again, more Banana Republic stuff from the United States of America, from our government, as we slide inexorably into just that, a Banana Republic. House Democrats have rallied in partisan opposition against journalists who have reported on revelations from Twitter's internal files. They're doing this because they were favored, okay, in the pre-Elon Musk era of Twitter. They boxed out any conservative thought. You know, these liberals out here always talk about diversity, but the one thing they really hate is diversity of thought. So really, they're kind of like the Borg from Star Trek, okay? They want to walk around and proclaim resistance is futile, okay? And they want you as a part of their collective. Any deviation whatsoever, and they'll come after you, all right? Taibbi is not a conservative journalist, all right? Okay, that's important to note here, that he is definitely not a conservative journalist. He's not someone that's, got a show on Fox News or is writing for the Epoch Times or anything like that. I love the Epoch Times, by the way. I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch any news whatsoever. In fact, somebody was asking me about that today, and I said, wow, it's been 12 years. It's been 12 years. We haven't watched local. Because, local news, all that's about is, first set of stories is about who got killed, murdered in the town. Next is political corruption. Then they do some weather, sports, human interest. See you at 11. The Plaskett letter explicitly regurgitates the deceptive accusations made by MSNBC host Mehdi Hasan that have thoroughly been debunked on Substack. Representative Plaskett and Representative Jeffries did not respond to requests for comment about this whole thing. Asked for information, I, being the author, asked for information about the accuracy of her perjury claims. Who else in Congress was involved in this letter to Taibbi, and whether such threats present a chilling effect on the freedom of the press? They don't care about that. Look, let me tell you something about America. If you want to see where we're going in real world fashion, there's an amalgam of countries you need to take a look at. One is South Africa, all right? And I mentioned South Africa simply because of the racial animus that is in the country and growing, Okay, we're getting further and further away from being able to realize the dream of a successful multicultural society. And I was asking a friend today, what is America's culture? Or do people just, adhere to a culture of, the ethnicity that they may belong to? Does America even have a culture at this point? And if it did, maybe it'll get demonized, like people demonize the national anthem, right? And you even have the recognition of the Black national anthem. People who decry segregation, okay, and discrimination are segregating themselves and creating a national anthem outside of the country's national anthem. Okay. How about, we have one culture, works kind of well in Japan, a homogenous society. I don't know if humans have the intellectual or the emotional intelligence right now to really thrive successfully in a multicultural society. And look, it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. If you look in Africa, you've got, as a result of colonialism, a lot of blurred lines in terms of borders. Hutus and the Tutsis, for example. You look up in Northern Ireland, a bunch of white people going at it, against one another. Politically speaking, you can look at the back and forth between North Korea and South Korea, although I think that's primarily driven by the cult of personality surrounding the Kim family. The long-lived Kim family doesn't seem to show any signs of stopping. I read an article the other day about how he's grooming his daughter for the throne, so to speak. The evidence shows that Taibbi's congressional remarks were correct. CIS and CISA collaborated with EIP. These must be government organizations because they love their acronyms, don't they? Anyway, Taibbi did admit making a mistake in a single tweet in one of his many threads, but his testimony to Congress was entirely different. So if you didn't lie before Congress, how can you be guilty of perjury? Are you being held to the perjury standards for tweets now? Okay, if that's the case, then they better start building a lot of prisons. Hassan deceptively conflated this quickly corrected tweet with Taibbi's testimony. See, so I'm sorry, representative without a vote from the Virgin Islands Plaskett, you can't threaten perjury without actual perjury. Now, this goes back to why I was saying that the United States is going to be an amalgam of several nations. One is South Africa, because you do have committed Marxists who are gaining power in the United States right now. And many of them are either wield direct legislative power, that means they're an elected official, or they are, the head of some very powerful organizations. Take Black Lives Matter, for example. The women that run that, they came out and just said, yeah, we're committed, trained Marxists. What of it? So we got South Africa. This is the amalgam that we're going to be looking like, okay? From the cultural standpoint, in terms of the back and forth, the race-based animus, okay, in the country. From an economic standpoint, we're going to start to look more. I know a lot of people point to Venezuela, but we're not there yet. We're going to start to look more like Great Britain. And what I mean by that is, as the dollar starts to fade, of course, we're not going to be able to afford the military in terms of its expansive empire-like power. Somebody on Facebook, they started out cool, but then they tried to clown me, and they tried to say, well, America's not an empire. I said, well, you can call it a kind of a neo-hybrid empire. We don't directly govern these places, but we certainly are in Japan to a fare thee well. We're over there in Germany. We're in, over in the Horn of Africa. We're everywhere, okay? And the person said, well, one characteristic of empire is that empires don't go in to places militarily and not take over. And he was really strident on this point to the point of throwing out several pejoratives. I let him go on. And then I came back and I said, do you realize that you live in a country where an empire actually assisted in a war, our Revolutionary War, and then just left? They didn't take us over. So there's your example. The French, okay, during the 1776, 1777 period. I haven't heard from this guy since. Okay, so that's what is going on. We've got an attack on the First Amendment. Listen, guys, if they can tear down the walls of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, then your property rights enshrined in the Fourth Amendment, they don't mean anything. Okay, they can definitely knock that wall down too. So you need to pay close attention to what these politicians are doing. Another reason I call out South Africa is because, again, they're Marxists. Okay, and Marxists don't have any respect at all, don't recognize private property. Unless it's their own, the Politburo. You know, they get to enjoy the largesse of capitalism while everybody else gets to live under the tyranny of an ideology, an economic and political ideology that does not really work. It's been proven time and time again. So that's where we are, folks. Matt Taibbi, we got to really watch this. Look at the liberties Congress is taking, okay, in order to persecute a member of the press. And it's not like this is Tucker Carlson, okay? This is a member of the press that, you know, has some liberal to moderate leanings here. I wouldn't classify him as right by any stretch of the imagination. But they are pissed off because Taibbi exposes things. Elon took Twitter away from them. But see, they're staying away from Elon Musk because he's got billions of dollars. Yeah, take him to court. You know, try to prosecute him. So what? You're going to make yourself look silly. But Taibbi, that's a different story. They know that he doesn't have the resources to combat them for any prolonged period of time, so they persecute him. They also know that with regard to Elon Musk, that our dominance in space would be definitely hampered if Elon Musk is sitting in a federal prison or worse, okay? All right, so guys, check out this video we did. More and more businesses are getting up and saying, we're out of here. We can't take it anymore. These cities have become literal basket cases, okay? And people are voting with their wallet. They're getting the hell out of Dodge. Businesses are taking jobs and just saying, out of here. Watch this, because again, a lot of the people that are elected in office right now are at the local level, and they are Marxists. They love this kind of stuff, okay? Because they don't have to get on a bus and travel twice the distance to get to their local Walmart, okay? They can just have stuff delivered or go to the finest restaurants. We're seeing a really well-defined bifurcation and separation from the political class, which are the haves, and the have-nots. In that political class, a lot of them are leftists. Even the Republicans, okay? All right, guys, watch that report. I'll talk to you soon.